All right, so go ahead and get into a comfortable seat. And if you have them available, make sure that you have maybe 1 or 2 blocks. And if you don't have those, it'll be okay. So you might also want to have a blanket for your knees if you have sensitive knees and you're on hard floor. But for today, I wanted to invite us to cultivate a little bit of fire in the body and maybe in the mind a little bit. In this time of the year, I think I personally feel a sense of wanting to sort of lean into stagnation a little bit, and feeling a sense of wanting to just go inward and like be in a cave and not talk to anyone. But it's important to stay in balance, because if we go too far towards the yang side of ourselves, then we kind of burn out our own fire. And in yoga, there's a couple of ways to think about fire. There's the digestive fire that exists in our bellies, and that also kind of falls off at this point in the year when we're like moving towards holiday season and wanting to indulge a lot. And then there's also the fire of the devotion to the practice. So tapas, that sense of always showing up no matter what, and really committing to the practice itself. So those are the couple of ways that I wanted to think about the practice today. And so we'll be synthesizing kind of, in my mind, what is this relationship between the heart and the solar plexus chakras. So the heart chakra is located kind of behind your sternum, and solar plexus chakra is where your solar plexus is. So you can go ahead and start by placing one hand there and one hand on the belly. And you might just take a few moments to settle into your seat. Maybe notice if there's any distractions that are in the room or maybe in the mind. Anything that you're carrying with you already from the start of your day. And you might allow yourself to just land. And maybe the hand on the heart and the hand on the belly are giving you information about how your breath is today. You might notice a sense of expansion as you inhale, and a sense of gentle release, contraction as you exhale. And along the way, we'll continue breathing with this awareness. You might open and close the mouth, release the jaw, make any shifts that you need. And if you'd like to, we'll start to bring to mind your intention for your practice. So what is the motivation that brought you to your mat? It can be really anything. It can be just your own wellness. There could be some other thing in your life that you are working to manifest that also is mirrored in your practice. So feel free to bring that to mind here. And connecting with the solar plexus chakra, that kind of bright light that exists in our bellies, and also the light that exists within the heart center. I'll invite you to open our practice with the sound of 3 ohms together. Feel free to hum or listen if you'd like. So let's take an inhale together. As you exhale, let the hands come down to the lap. If you're sitting cross-legged, you might cross the other way, blink the eyes open. And we'll take a moment to just have the hands on the knees and let the spine lengthen a little bit. So crown of the head rises to the sky. As you inhale, let's draw the heart forward, use the hands on the knees to draw the heart forward, arch the back. Exhale, belly button draws to spine, ribs knit in, chin to chest. So seated cat and cow, using the inhale to draw the heart forward, roll the shoulders away from the ears, and exhale, chin to chest, round the back. And continue moving with your breath. So even if you're moving at a different pace than I am, feel free to follow that. As much as this practice is me guiding you in the practice, it's also you guiding yourself and cultivating that awareness of your own body. And feel free to stay with this movement. Maybe we start to draw circles with the torso in space. So maybe you inhale, heart forward, exhale, lean to your right, and start to churn the torso over to the left and heart forward. So Sufi circles in one direction, still using that inhale to draw the heart forward, and let's reverse. So turn the belly the opposite direction. Maybe you're already using that audible breath, Ujjayi pranayama, that slight constriction at the throat that creates that whisper-like quality to the breath. Let's slow down the movement and bring the torso back through center. Bring your fingertips to touch the ground if they're able to. So some folks might be on a block and elevated, but if your fingertips can touch the ground, let's bring them there. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears. And let's start to, like we're knitting our corset together. Those are two different things, but start to knit your ribs in together, draw your core in. There's already that stability there. And with that, we'll inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, bring your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you, twist to your right. So I'm mirroring you here. We'll inhale through center, exhale, twist to the left. So we'll use the entire inhale to reach up through center, follow your breath, exhale, twist over to the right. So we'll move at our own pace here. We'll do about 3 times on each side. And if you're moving particularly fast, around the 3rd time that you twist over to your right side, we'll pause. So left hand's on that right knee, right hand is behind you. And notice if your hips shifted at all in space, if that left hip wanted to draw forward a little, let's weigh that hip down. And rather than pulling yourself with that left arm, maybe you find a little bit of release and exhale. Feel that twist originate from the belly, maybe that same area that the solar plexus resides. So let's take 2 more breaths here. And as you take your next inhale, we'll stay in the twist and lift that right arm up. And maybe you start to diagonal side bend over. So using that left hand as a way to resist as you find space through the left side body or right side body. And let's inhale, reach back up through center, unwind the torso through center, and we'll take that second side. So exhale, twist over to the left side, right hand on that left knee, left hand somewhere behind you, maybe fingers tented, spine's nice and tall. And same thing on this side, if there's any sense of that really cranking your joints, let's release the twist just enough to be a little more neutral. Let's take 2 more breaths. Use that exhale to feel that twist at the waist. Hips are stable. And as you're ready, we'll start to lift the left arm up, maybe over. So kind of reaching at a front diagonal toward that right side. Shoulders are soft away from the ears. Let's take one more breath in. Stay for the exhale and inhale. Reach yourself up and unwind through center. And let's make our way to tabletop. So hands and knees. Once you get there, notice if you need to add in any props, padding. And shoulders will be right over the wrists, hips over the knees. Let's inhale, let the belly drop. Maybe look forward, tailbone up. Exhale, draw belly button to spine, press the hands into the mat, round the back. So same thing here like we did earlier, cat and cow, following your breath. Maybe you notice how the shapes and the breath flow into one another. So it doesn't have to end right exactly at the very top of your inhale. Maybe there's a blend. So as you exhale, you start to round the back to cow pose or cat pose. Maybe you start the inhale in your cat pose to get to cow pose. And the same here. Maybe you start the exhale even when you're in cow pose to round the back to cat. So let's take that a couple more rounds. Eventually, let's start to increase the range of motion if you'd like to. You're always welcome to stay with cat and cow, but maybe we inhale, extend the hips, walk the hands one handprint forward. Exhale, sit the hips toward child's pose. So you don't have to go all the way there. And again, move with the breath. So same with cat and cow, use that inhale to extend the hips, maybe look forward, exhale, sit the hips back. And the next time you sit the hips back, we'll start to draw circles with the hips in space. So start to lean your hips over toward the right back corner of your mat. And as you inhale, we'll draw the heart forward, extend the hips. And as you exhale, lean the hips over to the left back corner of the mat. Maybe you're sitting toward child's pose to lean the hips over to the right. So drawing circles with the hips in space, your own way. And know that it doesn't have to look a particular way. You don't have to look how I look. It's really more about just feeling sensation in the hips, reverse direction, lean over to the left, inhale through the center, exhale to the right. And on your next time that you sit the hips back, we'll make our way to child's pose. So hips sit back, arms might reach forward. You could even bend the elbows and let the forearms rest down. You don't have to be super reaching forward. But forehead is heavy, arms are heavy. This is a moment for us to feel into the support of the ground beneath us. Three more breaths. And know that this is a place you're always welcome to return throughout practice. If you need to, take a restful moment. And when you complete your 3 rounds of breath, let's inhale, tabletop. As you take your next inhale, we'll make cow pose, tuck the toes. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. So first downward facing dog of practice, you might bend one knee and the other. You might be enjoying some stillness, making micro adjustments by pressing the knuckles of the hands into the mat. Lift your tailbone up to the sky. Draw the shoulders away from your ears. And you might have that sense of your fingers dragging away from one another. So I'm showing you with my hands here. Fingers drawing away from one another, arms kind of rotating toward the outside. And let's take an inhale, look to the hands, bend the knees a lot, and walk to fold forward at the front of the mat. So take baby steps, knees can be super bent. You can take as many steps as you need and fold forward. You might even rest your torso on your thighs. You could grab opposite elbows. Head hangs, maybe shake the head yes and no. Eventually, we'll bend the knees a lot, release your grip of your elbows if you have that, and roll up one vertebra at a time. Hands can support you as your head comes up last. And take Tadasana, mountain pose. So mountain pose, let's roll forward, lean forward and lean back. So eventually you might stop at a point that feels really balanced. All four corners of the feet are heavy and equal. And maybe you pick up your toes and you set them back down, really feeling the sensation of your entire footprint. And as you inhale, let's circle the arms out and up, reach up. Exhale, trace the midline as you soften your knees to fold forward. Next inhale, we'll lift up halfway, bring your fingertips to shins. Think cow pose with the back. So tailbone is up, shoulders are drawing away from the chest. And exhale, fold. Take an inhale, step the left foot back. For runner's lunge, we'll drop to the left knee. And notice here just how your weight is in your legs. And already we'll start to activate just a little bit of this bringing thighs toward one another, like scissors, not squishing toward center. But scissor thighs together, and we'll reach the arms out to the sides and up. Lift up into your low lunge Anjaneyasana. So you might decide that you want to take a little bit of a deeper lunge by walking that right foot a little forward. Notice where you want to stay for a couple of breaths. Tailbone slightly draws down. And take one more breath here. We'll stay for the exhale. If you were lunged a little forward like I am, start to bring your hips right back over the left knee. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, left arm reaches forward, right arm reaches back. So we're twisting the belly button toward that right thigh. Let's take one more breath here. Next inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring your hands down to frame the right foot. Tuck the left toes under, and we'll step the left foot forward and fold. Press into your feet, reach your arms out and up. And exhale, fold forward, trace the midline. Inhale, halfway lift, find that length in the spine, core is active. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, right foot steps back, runner's lunge, drop to the right knee, and start to set yourself up so that you can support yourself as you reach the arms out and up. So Anjaneyasana, low lunge with the left foot forward this time. And take these first few breaths just to play with that sensation. You don't have to be super static. You can be really buoyant in your joints. Let's make sure that tailbone slightly draws down. Are your shoulders super close to your ears? Could you soften them away? Let's take one more breath. And next exhale, right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back, belly button turns toward that left leg. If you need to, we'll bring the hips right over the right knee if you're lunged forward. And let's inhale, unwind through center, reach the arms up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, hands come down to frame the left foot, tuck the right toes under, and step forward and fold.
Press into your feet, reach those arms up, and exhale, bring hands through heart center and down. So Tadasana, stay standing up. A few breaths. Notice any shifts so far, and we'll start to move on. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, left foot steps back, runner's lunge. This time we'll keep the left knee lifted, scissor the thighs together, anchor down through your feet, reach your arms out at a T, and lift yourself all the way up for high crescent lunge. So you might bend into the knees, feel into how it feels to be in this shape. Widen your legs out if you need a little more help with balance. And take a breath here. Soften the shoulders, and we'll start to move a little bit, generate some heat. So take an inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, we'll cactus the arms and bend that left knee. Inhale, reach the arms up, straighten the left knee. Exhale, cactus the arms, bend the left knee. So my right knee isn't really moving a lot. Let's do one more time. Exhale, cactus, bend the left knee. And last time like this, we'll reach up, stay here. As you exhale, we'll find that slight bend to the left knee. Reach the left arm forward, right arm reaches back. So twisting belly button toward the right thigh. And let's take one more breath in. Reach the arms up. Find your way through center. Exhale, frame the right foot, step back, plank pose. Plank, you can lower onto the knees if you need to. You can be on forearms or fists. Put 3 more breaths wherever you're at. If you're taking plank off the knees, maybe you're pressing into the mat, feeling that mid-back puff up to the sky, that space at the back of the heart. And as you take your next exhale, let's lower knees down, chest and chin, lower all the way down. Lower all the way down to your belly. Walk your hands back to frame your ribs. Start to draw your shoulder blades together. Press your tops of your feet down and lift your heart up. Gaze down at your nose, taking low cobra, bhujangasana. Exhale, lower the forehead down. Let's take that 2 more times with your breath. Use that inhale to feel yourself rise. Exhale, lower. And keep the breath flowing. One last time, inhale, lift. Shoulder blades draw together, space around the chest. Exhale, lower. Next inhale is plank pose. On or off the knees, downward facing dog. Lift the hips. Let's take 3 breaths. Press into the knuckles of your hands. Lift the tailbone up to the sky. Next inhale, let's lift that right heel up and back, 3-legged dog. Keep your hips square. Take an inhale here. Exhale, draw knee to nose and step the right foot forward between your hands for runner's lunge. Stay in your runner's lunge and we'll plant the left hand down, either on the ground or on a block, and lift the right fingertips up. So twisting the belly button to that right thigh. Did your left hip collapse a lot? Can we invite that left hip to have a little bit of energy and not collapse down? Exhale, right hand comes down. Frame that right foot and start to pour weight into the right foot. Step the left foot forward and fold. Press into your feet, reach the arms out and up. Exhale, hands draws heart center and down, Tadasana for 2 breaths. Notice the heart rate. Notice if you're already feeling some warmth. And we'll take that second side. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold. Uttanasana. Next, inhale, fingertips to shins, lift up halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, right foot steps back this time, runner's lunge. Thighs start to scissor together. Feel it really anchored in your feet. Maybe your arms reach out at a T and you press into your feet to lift yourself up to crescent lunge, high crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. We'll take an inhale here. Make sure that that left knee is over the left ankle. And we'll exhale, cactus the arms, bend that right knee. Inhale, lift the arms up and straighten the left or right leg, sorry. All right, 2 more times. Cactus as you exhale, inhale, reach up. Last time. Inhale, reach up, stay in your crescent lunge. Start to slightly bend that right knee. Reach the right arm forward, left arm reaches back. Twist. Are your shoulders active? Can we soften them for 1 more breath? And next, inhale, reach the arms up, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands come down to frame the left foot. And it's plank pose your way. On or off the knees. We'll lower as you exhale, knees, chest, chin, lower all the way down. Hands walk to frame the ribs. Inhale to Cobra, Bhujangasana. Shoulder blades draw together. Maybe hands are light. Exhale, lower the forehead down. Plank on or off the knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take 2 more breaths. If you need to sigh it out or flutter the lips, you could do that here. Next, inhale, lift the left leg, 3-legged dog. Exhale, draw knee to nose, step it forward, runner's lunge. Stay in your runner's lunge, right hand plants down, left arm reaches up, turn your belly button to that left leg. Did your right hip dip? Let's keep it nice and active by pressing into the ball of that right foot. And exhale, bring your hands to frame the left foot, pour weight into that left leg, and step forward and fold. Press into your feet, reach the arms out and up, and we'll exhale, draw hands to heart center. Take a pause here with hands at heart center. I'm going to show you how to do chair pose with a block. So if you have a block and you're curious, you might bring that in between the thighs, and we'll see if you want to do it that way. So this just gives awareness for squeezing the thighs together. And if you don't have a block, you're squeezing an invisible block. So hands at heart center, take an inhale, exhale, squeeze the invisible block and sit the hips down and back. So toes aren't where the weight is, weight's in the heels. So imagine your shins energetically moving back. Back is neutral. Take a few more breaths. Feel that fire starting to happen in the body. Allow the breath to guide you through. All right, next inhale, we'll press into the feet, reach the arms up. If you have that block, we'll toss that off to the side. So arms reach up, Tadasana. Grab hold of the right wrist with the left hand and side bend over to the left. Press into the right big toe mound. Shoulders draw away from the ears. And we'll inhale through center. Grab hold of the left wrist with the right hand and side bend right. And press through your left big toe mound. Take an inhale, reach up through center. Exhale, fold forward. Next inhale, step the left foot back for runner's lunge. This time we'll reach up your way. Arms can reach out at a T and then up for your Anjaneyasana crescent lunge. Take an inhale here. Next exhale, we'll open up for warrior 2. So plant the knife edge of the left foot down. Reach your fingertips away from one another. And notice if that right knee is over the right ankle. We don't want it over. We want it right on top. So take a moment to settle into your shape, whatever is sustainable for you. Again, a moment to observe the fire that's naturally happening in the body. As you take an inhale, let's flip the palms up to face the sky like you're holding trays. And we'll start to tip it back for peaceful warrior. Make sure that right knee stays bent. Exhale, bring right forearm to right thigh. Left arm reaches up, maybe over, side angle. So 2 more times with your breath. Use your entire inhale to tip it back. Exhale, side angle. And last time like that. The next time you take your third side angle, we'll meet in warrior 2. In warrior 2, we'll start to straighten that right leg. Maybe that's a little bit of a relief. We'll start to reach the right fingertips forward. And when you can't reach forward anymore, right hand lands on the right leg, left arm reaches up for triangle pose, Trikonasana. So really, rather than having it be about how far you can go down, see if it can be about how much integrity you can maintain in your spine. Draw the left hips to the left side of the mat. Feel the crown of the head press forward. And if the left shoulder is feeling pretty tired, you can bring the back of the left hand to the low back. And again, this is sort of a twist here too. So right ribs are rolling under the left ribs. Let's take 2 more breaths. Right knee is soft. When you're ready, let's inhale, lift that left arm up again. If it wasn't there already, press into your feet. Reach the arms out. Exhale, warrior 2 one more time. This time we'll start to pivot the toes to face the left side of the mat, reach up, star pose. So you're facing the side of your mat, arms are reaching out. Soften the knees, exhale, fold. You might find a gentle sway from side to side. Let the head hang here. Let's take a couple of breaths. The next inhale, let's take a halfway lift. So like we're in that forward fold, halfway lift, spine is nice and parallel to the ground. If you have a block, we'll place that on the ground, maybe on the highest setting, and set your right hand on it. So I'll mirror you here. Right hand's on the block, left hand comes to the low back. So notice your hips are probably square right here. Take an inhale. We'll exhale, start to turn your belly button to face the left side. So twisting to the left. Did that right hip want to dip down a lot? Could you draw it over to the right? And maybe that means the twist isn't as big as you might have expected it to be, but we're really trying to twist along that same line of the solar plexus chakra or the thoracic spine. And we'll exhale, fold forward again, replace the right hand with the left, bring the right hand to the low back. Inhale, find that halfway lift, and we'll exhale, start to turn the belly button toward the right side. Again, did that left hip want to dip down? Could we keep the hips square? And we'll exhale, fold forward, release that. Take an inhale, fingertips on the ground. We'll start to bring heels in, toes out. So just shift your heels in, toes out, bring your hands to your thighs. Let's roll up for this supported goddess squat. So hands are on the thighs. You can sit as low as feels comfortable. Take an inhale through center. As you exhale, let's dip the right shoulder down, maybe look left. Inhale, center, exhale, dip the left shoulder down, maybe look right. And let's do that 2 more times so you can use your breath. Inhaling through center, using the exhale to dip one of your shoulders down. Again, an opportunity for you to move at your own pace. And last time, maybe. Eventually, maybe you bring your spine upright. So spine is nice and stacked, head is right over the hips. And maybe you float the arms off into that cactus shape. So just for a moment here, a moment for you to feel strength. Could you press into the heels of your feet? Notice what muscles that activates. Maybe your hips are really talking to you here. Let's take 2 more breaths. Feel into that fire. Maybe add some fire or take away. Whew. And when you're ready, let's press into the feet. Reach the arms out, star pose. Exhale, it's warrior 2 to the front of your mat. Cartwheel the hands down and step back, downward facing dog. Option to come up to plank pose, drop down to knees, chest, chin. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take 3 breaths. And let's take an inhale, look to the hands, bend the knees a lot, and walk or hop to fold at the front of your mat. Press into your feet, reach those arms up, and exhale, hands draw to heart center. Keep hands right where they are at heart center. Take an inhale, exhale, it's chair pose. So if you're doing it without the block this round, see if you can maintain that same energy. Notice the contrast. Let's take 2 more breaths. And when you're ready to come out, let's press into the feet, reach those arms up. Just keep your arms up. Grab hold of the right wrist with the left hand. We'll side bend to the left. Inhale through center, side bend to the right. Inhale through center, exhale, fold. Next, inhale, halfway lift, find length in the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right foot steps back, runner's lunge. Reach your arms out at a T and rise to your crescent lunge on this side. Take a breath here. Maybe this feels a little familiar. Exhale, open it up, warrior 2 on this side. As you exhale, maybe you feel that sense of letting yourself feel heavy. And can you press your feet into the ground to feel the crown of the head rise? Reach your arms out. Make sure that left knee is over the left ankle. And flip the palms up. Could that invite space to the shoulders, the neck? And let's tip it back as you inhale, peaceful warrior. Exhale, left forearm to left thigh, right arm reaches up, maybe over side angle. Follow your breath for 2 more rounds of that, using the entire inhale to find peaceful, exhale to find your side angle. And the last time, the 3rd time you find side angle, it's warrior 2. Feel into the strength of your legs. Maybe they're feeling a little warm. Start to straighten that left leg. Reach the left arm forward. When you can't reach anymore, hand plants on the left leg anywhere. Right arm reaches up toward the sky. And look wherever's comfortable. So you don't have to look up at that right thumb. You could look down. Right arm could be behind you. Invite that length to the spine. Invite the left ribs to roll under the right. And make sure that left knee isn't locking out. We're inviting a little bit of activation there for the hypermobile folks like myself. 2 more breaths. And when you're ready to come out, if that right arm isn't up, we'll reach it up. Use that sense of reaching up with the right fingertips, pressing into your feet to open up warrior 2. From warrior 2, we'll pivot the toes to the right side of this mat this time, straighten both legs. It's star pose. Exhale, fold forward, soften the knees. Take a couple of breaths. Head is hanging. Hands are on the ground or on blocks. As you inhale, we'll find that halfway lift to lengthen the spine. And we'll take a couple of options. So we're going to side lunge over to the right side. So you might have your hands on blocks. If you know your body and you know you need to be more upright, you can bring your spine upright, hands to the hips, side lunge over to the right. Inhale through center, exhale, side lunge to the left. So we'll take this 2 more times. Using your breath, inhale through center, exhale, side lunge to the right. Inhale, center, exhale, side lunge to the left. The next time we side lunge to the right, we'll find a hold. So wherever you're at, the spine is nice and long. The back is nice and strong. We're hopefully finding some space in that inner right hip. And if you're taking the variation that I'm taking, you could have the toes of the left foot flaring up to the sky. Let's take 1 more breath here. Next inhale, we'll walk through center. If you're low like me, we'll stay low. And over to the left side. So side lunge on this side. Maybe you're taking the option to have the right toes flare up. And you can do that even if you're more upright also. So 2 more breaths. Eventually, let's inhale through center, reach the arms up, star pose. Exhale, warrior 2 to the front of the mat. Hands cartwheel down, and last opportunity for you to find that flow or head straight to downward facing dog. So you can take knees, chest, chin to cobra or upward facing. Downward facing dog is where we'll meet. And once you get to downward facing dog, take a couple of breaths and lower the knees down. Make your way to child's pose. Forehead rests. And you can take any variation of the arms. They can be forward, and it can be nice to have them by your sides as well, maybe reaching toward your feet. And just a few breaths here to allow yourself to land, to maybe notice this contrast and appreciate all of the work that you've done in your practice, that fire that you might have cultivated. You might have that sense of these embers still providing that sense of warmth, but without the kind of raging fire of the more intense heat building poses. And let's take 3 more rounds of breath. Let the lungs fill up all the way. Notice all the spaces that get filled in as you inhale. And notice that connection to the ground as you exhale. And when you finish 3 rounds of breath, gently press yourself up to tabletop and sit on one hip, swing your legs around. And let's scoot the hips forward so that your knees can be bent, feet planted on the ground. You're sitting maybe halfway down your mat. And we'll bring the hands behind the knees. And start to press those bony points of your hips down and feel the crown of the head rise. And as if you're wearing a corset that's made of your flesh, could you activate all of those muscles at the core without like clenching, but just notice that they're active. And maybe that guides you to lean back and float the toes off of the ground. And you could bring your shins parallel to the ground. Maybe the arms are floating out to the sides or reaching up. Maybe you're taking legs straight or some other variation that works for you. But Virasana, boat pose, just to feel a little bit of that warmth in our center again, drawing all that energy in. 2 more breaths. And when you're ready to come out, let's lower the feet down. Make sure your blocks are kind of handy. And let's take a slow roll down to the back. Eventually, you might hug knees to chest. Give yourself a rock from side to side. And let's start to lower the feet down. Make sure that the knees are right under the heels, or the heels are right under the knees. Hands right by your hips. As you inhale, let's lift the hips up off the ground, press into the heels, squeeze the thighs together. We'll exhale, lower the hips down slowly. Let's do this a couple times with the breath. Maybe you add in lifting the arms up overhead, letting them land somewhere near the top of your mat as you inhale, and exhale, lower the hips and arms down at the same time. So flowing bridge for a couple more rounds. If you're really feeling like you want to find that still bridge pose, you could head there now. But if you're enjoying this flowing bridge, you might take a couple more rounds before finding stillness. When you're ready to find that bridge pose in stillness, you can bring your arms by your sides. And feel free to take any arm variation that you like. You can grab your hands underneath you, walk your shoulders under if that's in your practice. And if that's not in your practice, maybe you're grabbing the edges of your mat or bending at the elbows and pressing your upper arm bones into your mat. So whatever you do, let there be a sense of ease. Your glutes are probably active, but they don't need to be clenched. Let's draw that tailbone slightly down. Maybe you feel that sense of heels dragging to your shoulders for 3 more rounds of breath. Some folks might appreciate lifting onto the toes, lifting the heels. And as you feel ready, we'll take a slow roll down to the back. Eventually the heels will lower. Knees to chest. Let's rock from side to side. And we did a lot of twisting today, so I'll invite you into one more twist, but we won't be here for too long. So maybe the knees start to land over to the right. You can reach your arms out at a T, supine twist, knees to the right. Feel free to look to your left fingertips if you'd like, or up toward the ceiling. Let's take 3 more rounds of breath here. As you finish 3 rounds, let's bring the gaze back up. If it wasn't, knees draw through center and over to the left side. You can gaze right if you want. And if you're noticing that you're feeling any weirdness in the low back, it could be helpful to have some sort of prop between the thighs. 3 more rounds of breath here. Notice how this pose kind of contrasts energetically with the other twists we did. Feeling that connection to earth. Hopefully feeling a sense of steadiness here. Eventually, let's draw knees back through center, hug knees to chest. And there's a couple of options. You can start to draw your knees towards your armpits, maybe starting to move toward happy baby. In happy baby, the soles of the feet are pointing toward the sky. So maybe you're grabbing your shins and pressing your forearms or elbows into your knees. Maybe you're grabbing the inner or outer parts of the feet. But rather than striving to grab the feet, you can add a lot of sensation by drawing your tailbone down to the ground and plugging your shoulders into the ground too. So notice how just that adds sensation throughout the hips. And as you feel ready, you can start to let your feet come down to the ground. And if there's any other pose that you want to add in, you can do that here. So some people might like to do legs up the wall, fingertips could also reach up. So I've heard this called dead bug pose, but this variation of Viparita Karani. You could do that. Maybe if you have a wall, you're literally putting your legs up against it. And if you're really enjoying the hip opening, you might take Supta Baddha Konasana, so feet together, knees apart. And if you're really ready for Shavasana, perhaps you're heading there or you're already there. I like to invite folks to customize the end of practice since we all use our bodies in different ways. We have different needs. So feel free to add that in here. As you take your stillness and observe your thoughts in this moment of silence, it could be useful to return your awareness to the breath. And it could also be useful to just notice the spaces between the thoughts, those natural areas where nothing's really happening. Feel free to stay as you are for as long as you would like to.
If you feel ready to start moving, transitioning, you might start with a deep breath that fills the lungs all the way and exhale all that air out. Take your time. Again, if you want to stay in Shavasana for the end of practice, you're welcome to. If you're taking that movement, fingertips could start to move. Maybe your thumb grazes over your fingertips. Eventually, you might take a full body stretch or draw knees to chest. Feel free to rest on one side first before pressing yourself up to a seat. And if you're staying in Shavasana, feel free to continue as you are. Whatever you've decided to do when you make your way up, maybe you can keep your gaze soft to the ground. Perhaps your eyes could close. And maybe you let your hands rest somewhere on your legs, either palms facing down or up, whatever feels natural and easy to you. And take a few moments to observe and just acknowledge the practice that we've been able to do today. And perhaps layered on top of that, there can be a sense of gratitude. The gratitude we have for ourselves, for the ways that we can study ourselves. And hopefully through that, the capacity we all have to cultivate more compassion to bring into the world. As you take your next inhale, we'll bring hands to heart center your way. Anjali Mudra, palms can press together, thumbs can rest on your sternum. You can also just rest your palms on your heart center if that feels more authentic to you. Bring into mind the intention you might have had for your practice, your dedication. And with that in mind, we'll seal practice with the sound of a single Om together. And a reminder that Om is really 3 syllables, A, O, and it is the sound of yoga itself. So let's take an inhale together. Bowing our heads to our hearts, we honor our practice today. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May our practice bear fruit, and may that fruit benefit all beings everywhere. Thank you for joining me in practice. So good to do my own thing, do my own project. So I appreciate the support of the friends that I have to be down to check it out. So if you enjoyed what we did in class today, or maybe if you didn't, any feedback or questions, feel free. Otherwise, I'll see y'all next week.
Thank you.